Welcome back to From Nine to Mom.
where we discuss balancing the 9 to 5 hustle with the beautiful chaos we call motherhood.
And this morning, I feel like, Danielle, we just spent 2 hours talking about schedules. Like, you're coming up to Rochester. We're trying to fit everything in like a
Yep.
48-hour window. And then coming again in August. Like, we've just had a lot going on and we're trying to like book every second, I feel like.
Yes, we are. And we're trying to optimize every second as true
It's a great
mothers
word.
do. And I know that schedules are a hot topic, but this is not like your typical schedules we're talking about. It's Katie and I's work schedule, trying to work our
Yeah.
stuff around everybody else in the office,
Yeah.
then also working it around when can we get the right daycare for the kids to be able
Yep.
to do these things. When do we have the first day of school? When is a kid's birthday? It's just overwhelming. And yeah, we definitely just spent at least it was a full hour of scheduling
And the
conversations, and we still have to dos.
I know. And the worst part is I spent another probably half hour before that, like figuring out my personal schedule with daycare because we have the whole month of August yet because up in New York, back to school is not till after Labor Day. So our like, typical setup for during the school year doesn't start till then. And so, Ryan has a couple days this month. So this morning he sent me a beautiful list of all
A
the
love note.
days.
It was a love note.
Yeah, he's like, here's all the days I have to work. And I'm like, okay, let me get to it. And we both were like, oh, we'll just talk about it tonight. Like, after the kids go to bed, we'll have a little State of the Union. But like, my brain doesn't work like that. Like, I really wouldn't have been able to get anything else done unless I had like a list of the days that we need somebody to watch the kids, like locked in half of them. Like, I just wouldn't have been able to be productive if I like didn't have that set up.
Well, and I think that leads into like what we kind of want to talk about today is as the working mom, how we dictate the schedules, but also how we do it because if we don't, A, nobody
Yeah.
else will, and B, it just stresses us out. So like what you just said, like if you didn't get that done, that's always how I feel. Like we have open house coming up for both kids. We've got meet the teacher and it's during the day and I'm working. But if I
Yep.
don't coordinate it or if I don't figure it out before I start work for the day, as soon as something comes up, I need to get it out and settled because my brain just keeps
Yep.
going back and forth. And I know if I don't do it, it's going to fall on me later, anyways. And it's not a negative thing, it's just the way it is in
Yep.
most relationships, I think. Like, regardless of whether
Yeah.
you're a working mom or not, I think women tend to dictate the social calendar, the
Right.
school events, think play dates, whatever it is. But we're talking like straight up work and life. It's just
Yeah.
there's so many things going on right now. I I just
Well, that's where like it comes to like my joint calendar doesn't connect to my work calendar.
mhm.
And I wish there was like something out there that could just take every calendar you have and put it into one. Like I know you could probably do it with Google and like share that, but like
Well, they
Ryan
just came out
doesn't.
with the new calendar. We definitely have to look into
I
that and give
know.
a report because
I
if you
know.
guys don't know, Google came out with like a new Calendly type thing, and I'm hoping that it will pull in all the different things.
It's got to do something like that because but like think about how many we use. So we have
Cozy.
Outlook Outlook for our work. We
Mhm.
also have Google for a portion of work.
Mhm.
Then we have Cozy for personal life. And then on Ryan's side, he's got Outlook through school, like that he does
Oh,
all his
yeah,
school
and Jordan
stuff.
has Outlook through his work,
So it's
and
like,
then
how
now
do
I have the
you
fridge calendar that we talked about,
well, and then that. Well, that's
and
like,
a
how many
planner.
calendars can I have? I have a I'm with you. So we have a fridge calendar, my written calendar, Cozy, then my work calendar. Like I have to check 15 spots
Yeah,
to
well,
see if
and
we can do
then
something.
with the daycare situation, like, my mom's watching Daisy, and we've gotta work out, like,
Yeah.
"Okay, mom, what do you have? Like, what's on your calendar?" It's almost like I need to integrate
Yeah.
her calendar and then Colton's school calendar. It's just unbelievable, and I think it just becomes such a stressor in the workplace because we wanna finalize it so that we can just focus and get
Right.
into work, and that's
Right.
kinda what happened this morning. Like, we had other plans of things we needed to talk about and things we needed to do, but we sat down and we had to look at, "Okay, this is all the things we have going on." And like you
Yep.
said, we have multiple trips. I'm coming up to Rochester for work quite a few times. Then we are starting our travel circuit, I would call it, with
Right.
our trade shows and stuff like that. We both have school starting, and it's just, we had to do that before we could do anything else because
Your brain
if we
can't
didn't clear that brain,
Right.
part of our brain, it would
Yeah.
be an issue.
Well, and that's something we were talking about, like, you're coming up for work, and God forbid we book, a dinner or, like, something for fun
What do we
during that.
do?
We're like, "Okay, from 9 to 11, we have this meeting, that, we'll do this," and, like, literally minute planning our day, and you try to coordinate in that, but then it's like, "Okay, I need to make sure I have daycare set up for the
Yes.
kids and you," and then, like, some nights you're just like, it's not even worth it to book stuff because you're
No.
like, it's just too hard to coordinate during the day that because you're working all day, you have the daycare during the day, then you feel bad leaving them with the same person all night.
Yes.
Like,
And then you also, I don't know if this happens to you, but the second I finally book something that I go to leave the house, it's absolute chaos. All hell breaks loose. Both kids are screaming. Everything's in an uproar. And I am running late because I'm trying to like say goodbye, help out. It's like I can't even get out of the house without being super crazy or dramatic when I end up leaving. But then also, all we want is a damn margarita. Like that's all you and I want to
literally, that's all we want. We just want one.
do.
Like, we're
One
not trying to go
margarita.
crazy. Um, yeah, it just makes it so hard, and then, like, we've been talking about, like, you were talking about our lecture circuit, that's like an office thing, from the office lecture circuit, trade shows and, like, going to that, and then, like, you and I are, like, trying to figure out how to navigate getting back into networking, which we've
Yes,
talked about before on the podcast, like, feeling confident and doing those things, and like I just said, sometimes it's just like, it's not worth it. It's not even worth it,
well,
and it makes it so
yeah,
hard to, like, sign back up for that stuff and, like, get back involved, but, like, when do you do it?
that is one of my biggest things because, for me, business development, building relationships, and networking is a big part of my job. And it's a big part of what I like to do as well. But all my networking events before Daisy were at 7:30 in the morning and or happy hours.
Right.
And that's the two most inconvenient times
Mhm.
for a parent, let alone a mother,
I
to
know.
be able to go network because you have to leave with traffic in Charlotte. I have to leave an hour early, which means my daughter was up from 2 o'clock on last night. Like,
Right.
when would I have? And then Colton had swim and then he had school and Jordan took care of that part, but I still had to prep, get him ready. It's like, I don't
Get
want
the
to
bags out
commit
the door.
and look
Mhm.
flaky because that has happened already, but there's nothing I
Right.
can do about it. But
Right.
also, I just want to be able to get out there and do my job. But it's almost like the people who plan these events don't have kids, maybe. I don't know. I don't
Or
know.
men.
Yeah. So Katie and I are
I
trying
hate to be
to
like that, but
I know,
it's
but
true
it's true.
sometimes. It is, like, and sometimes they just don't they do have kids, but, like, the not burden, but, like, I don't have a better word, but, like, this part of the scheduling and coordinating, like, doesn't fall on them, so, like, for them, an hour before work, yeah, I can swing that, like, no
Totally
problem.
fine. Or they have a nanny that comes to the house, or maybe they're just in a different phase of life. Both kids are at school by 7. The bus comes
I
at
know. Well,
6:45
that's the
and
other
that's
thing is,
fine.
like, we are in that piece beforehand where, like, they can't stay on their own at all. Like, our kids aren't that sufficient, and me and you both don't have Monday through Friday full daycare, which a
Yeah.
lot of people do. And if you do have that and you have the flexibility, like, I know my sister, their daycare is available 6 to 6, so she could.
Technically do it. And with Colton, I was able to do it because it was a normal daycare. So like
Mhm.
I would be able to just drop him off and then go do what I got to do. Right.
Yeah,
So I get how it can be possible. It's just neither of us right now are in that
I
stage of
know.
possibility.
Mhm.
And I think too, like we want to network with people who are in business,
Mhm.
regardless of what their situation is, right? Like regardless whether
Mhm.
they're a working mom or a working dad or a stay at home,
Right.
it doesn't matter. Like we want
Mhm.
to network for business reasons.
Right.
But now we're also on this quest to network with people like us because it's empowering and it's motivating and, being able to be with other women who are working and juggling and feeling the things
Right.
we're feeling, but also still excelling in their careers and doing what they want to do is it's an important part of the village that it takes to not
Right.
just raise a child, but raise a mom, right? And keep us going.
Yep. Yep.
And I know that we're trying to plan an event and some of the conversation we were having is like, around when do we have this event, what's going to we want this to be a positive empowering experience
Right.
for working moms, but we don't want to tell them, hey, show up at 7:30 for a breakfast because we know we sure as
Yeah.
hell can't do it, or let's go
Right.
to happy hour because we know that We
It's
can't
true.
do that either. But
Right.
then take the whole day off of work to come network with us, right? And build relationships.
Yeah.
That's a
But
lot to ask when you're taking off for the first day of
right.
school
Right.
or this doctor's appointment, right?
Mhm. Right, and it makes it hard because we all have the intention that we all like, you'd love to go coordinate, like, an event, and we're even thinking, like, "How do we plan something like this and get this part done?" But, like, the networking with other people in your phase of life and being able to talk business, being able to learn what other people do, I mean, outside of our industry, like, getting to know other moms, like, how else are we gonna all make friends and, like, stay sane if we don't, like, dedicate a little bit of time? But, like, I keep going back to, like, at what point is it even worth it? Like,
I
to
don't
take
know.
that day, like, like, we are very fortunate in the flexibility we have with days off and that, like, some people are set on their PTOs, and to
Yeah, it's
take a
totally
day
different.
when I, don't know if I need that for one of my kids for when they're sick or whatever
Yes,
it may
because some
be,
people are
like,
so structured that
you can't
it
take the
taking that
time.
day is a huge decision. But
Mhm.
if then I wonder if it's women in business, and I know people have all different jobs. So to say it's women in business who are in the networking field, hopefully their work would be like, hey, this is important
Of course, yeah.
for you to go out and do to make these connections, build these relationships for the business side, but also for your personal and professional
Mhm.
growth and development. I would want that for my
Right.
team, right?
Mhm.
And for us, but also it's not every boss out there. And if you have,
Right.
there's a lot of great male bosses too. So this has nothing to do with male, female bosses. It's more about what is their stance on personal growth and development and
Mhm.
what do they consider worth giving you
Yeah.
that time for. So then you have to, when we're planning, and we're going to put a couple polls out there, honestly, because we're like, oh, it'd be so cool if we could do like a breath work or a yoga thing to start off the day and then get a speaker in to talk to us about, like, honestly, professional growth as a female
Right.
right now, like get a workshop in there. There's a bunch of ideas we have, but we want to know, what would you be willing to take that?
What would make somebody wanna come to the event? Because, like, me and you both, we absolutely know, like, some people more like leadership stuff. Some people are
Hmm.
into the yoga and just wanna come and do something like that, or some people think it's all BS, and they're like, "I'm
Yes.
just here to network and see how we can all meet each other to get ahead," like, "Who can
They're
I
like, let's move
work with?"
forward here. Yes.
Like, "How do
Can
we
you
do
help
that?"
me?
And
Can I
sometimes
help you?
I actually do love events that are like that, where it's like they purely say, like, the network, like, they do the speed dating and stuff of the networking, and it's like, just meet as many people as you can to, like, create connections.
Yes.
Um,
And there's
because
a
'cause I've
time
def
and a place for that. So it would be so cool to be able to
right?
merge that in to an event so that you're
Yeah.
hitting all those pieces and people could pick and choose like what parts they
Mhm.
want to or need to participate in. A lot of the events we go to are like, here's your sessions, but
Right.
that's another whole scale. Now we're talking having breakout rooms and things like that. We want to
Right.
do it all. We want to grow it. And honestly, there's is a selfish aspect to it. And the point of, I want to meet people. I want to network
I
with
know that's why
people.
we're trying to create something for us that works for us. That
Like,
is
what would
what we
work for
like to
us
do.
so we
Yeah.
could give it back? Because I just
Yeah.
think that we need that in our lives
I
right
know.
now, and we want to build that in our lives, but also like we do want to get ahead in our careers, and I don't
Mhm.
want to feel guilty about it
Yeah.
either.
Mhm.
But I also don't want to feel guilty if I decide not to do something because I
Right.
am a mom. It's like that balance. So sometimes you go to these
Right.
events and it's like, oh, I choose career first every single time because this is why, blah,
You
blah, blah.
can't.
And then the other
Yeah.
ones are, I choose my kids first because this is what's important every single time. And I'm like,
Right.
well, I need to put food on my table. So career
So
needs
how
to
do I
happen.
do
But I also want to help my kids grow and
Yeah.
learn. So I can't do that. And I just feel like in this torn spot on top of
Right.
trying to then figure out, when can we actually do this whole thing because we have 77,000 schedules.
Before we're, like, 50 and,
Hmm.
like,
Yeah,
the kids are thinking about college, and then it's like, what
we missed it.
where
We
did it
missed
all
it.
go? But then we're, like, late in our careers at that point, like, we're in a growth mindset, and maybe that's where we're looking to connect with people that are in similar to
That's
us. Like,
absolutely
how do we keep
it.
growing in this phase of life with kids this young? And, maybe we're just maybe we're insane and this isn't
We're
gonna
not.
work, and
The
people are
reason I
just
know
gonna be
we're
like,
not insane is because there's all these accounts, right, that we see and we
"True,
follow, and
true."
we keep meeting people who are saying, "Oh my gosh, I feel the same thing."
Right,
We're not crazy. I just think that figuring it out has been hard for these type of
right.
people, people like us, because
Right.
Actually, we are crazy, but that's why it's hard because our lives are a little crazy right now.
Yep.
And I think the motivating thing that I keep seeing is like those Oprah didn't do this until she was 40. And
Oh, I
this
know,
woman,
right?
like you always see those and you're like, yes, I still can do it. I've got time.
And it just keeps getting closer and
I know I'm closer to
closer.
40
Shit.
now than I am to 30. So, it's
Oops.
getting cool. How did that happen? I don't know.
We blinked. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, those things alone. And then, yeah, I've been like, there's the Chamber of Commerce's and those types of events that we've been looking into. And like, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to go spend my hour that I get with the kids at night, even just one night. Like sometimes I'm just like, I'm not willing to give that up
So
to
I
go
think
do that.
that's okay to say too, because time is money. And I got feedback, honestly, from my dad about this a while ago because I was doing all these
Yeah.
networking events. He's like, you have to pick and choose which ones are actually fruitful for you. And whatever
Yeah.
that means, it doesn't, for some people, it means you're getting new business. For
Hmm.
some people, it means you're building enough into yourself where you feel motivated and encouraged, like to go out and do something different. That might be different for every single person, but you do
Hmm.
have to pick and choose. And that's where you don't want to go to a subpar event just because you want to say that you went
I
networking.
know.
You want to go to an awesome event where you get one of those two things or both if you're
Right.
lucky, right? Like
Seriously.
business and
Feel
growth
pretty good and
motivation. Yeah.
yeah, motivated. Yeah, I feel like too, you get yourself there and it ends up being okay. But like right now, like I mean, we've gone through this a few times now of like by the time you have the outfit, the daycare, you know, things all together, you're like, "Oh my God, I'm exhausted. I don't
I'm
have time
exhausted
to even
thinking
talk
about
to
it.
anyone."
I'm exhausted from our conversation this morning thinking about it,
I
but
know.
also I just desperately need it in my life.
And I'm more introverted, I think, than extroverted. So like those events, like
Hmm.
I really gotta like hype myself up. Like I'm there, I'm fine once I'm there and I can network and do all that. But like I gotta hype myself up to get
Yeah.
there
It's like
on
the
top
pump
of
up.
it. So I'm already like it's gonna drain my battery a lot to go to these things and like put on that face to be out there
Yeah.
and do that. Um so yeah, like when the kids are sleeping 3 hours at night, like that's not where I want to be.
Yeah, and I'm definitely extroverted, like the most ENTJ you could possibly be
Mhm.
in the world. But motherhood has made me more conscious of where I spend my extroversion,
Yeah,
right? Like I just wanted to be with people. It didn't matter. Like I
all
go
the
to
time. Mhm.
all the time because
Everywhere.
that's like what gives
Mhm.
me fuel. But
Mhm.
now I have to be more careful because it has to be the right fuel or I come home frustrated, aggravated, or oh my gosh, I just wasted these 3 hours that I could have been socializing with
Right.
my kids and a friend group or whatever. And I did it with this. It's just tough because
Yeah.
I still want to spend that time, but I definitely am more cautious and selective with how I
Right.
spend that time.
Right. I'm curious to hear like other mom stories on this of like people that do network a lot for a living with young kids. And or maybe on the sales front even because I feel
Yeah.
like that's a big part of like you got to be out meeting people and connecting and doing those things and hearing kind of how they balance some of it. um and we're of course we're only talking, we work 9 to 5. There's a
Hmm.
lot of other shifts out there that people are working that it's like work is during those networking things or during webinars or things that you
Yeah.
could do for self-learning. It just seems like the 24 hours goes very fast in a day.
Yeah. We need more time. That's like the conclusion I've
Or a
come to.
clone. I mean, it's clone or time. I don't
Well,
know.
I think we might be closer to cloning people than gaining more time. So I think that might be the
Right?
way we have to start researching.
Like I embrace AI, but like it's not enough.
No.
Like girl
Well,
needs to
and like
hurry
let's
up.
be real, like AI is great. We've used it. We say it all the time. We use it in our business all the time. But like AI having support, sometimes it's just we had a little glitch yesterday in the business using like another system, and it was like funny because we're like, well,
Right.
that's what you get. But at the
What
same
you
time,
get? I need
we're
like
just trying to do the
remember the
best we
movies
can.
like Smart House? I need that. But
I've
like
never.
it can't turn
What's the movie
evil.
Smart House?
Come on, from Disney Channel?
Dude, you're younger than me. This is the problem.
I'm not
Do I
that
have to
much
go
younger
watch
than
this?
you.
Enough.
Smart House, come on.
Me and my brother's girlfriend. We're just talking about this because she's 34. So I'm 38.
Okay.
And we were talking about Disney Channel shows that we watched and stuff. And those 4 years are very drastic.
You think?
I
But
think
like
so.
Hannah Montana?
I I was too old for Hannah Montana. I mean, I love
Okay, so
Miley Cyrus.
this was well before it. I'm looking at when it came out because I feel like you should have
Was
known
this
that.
like the
But
like
anyway,
Black Mirror
it's
for children?
no, it's a Disney Channel show. Smart House came out in. It was like with Xenon. Were you too old for Xenon?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That
I
was
was like
1999.
I was like TGIF and SNCC,
I guess you were. How old
right?
were you in 1999?
I was like 12. So I wasn't too old. I just wasn't
What
doing
about
that.
life size?
No.
Oh my god.
Seriously, I don't know what you're talking. I've never even
Where
heard
did
of
we
these
get into?
things.
Anyway, so Smart House is like basically they
Wait.
built these people win a house and it has like AI built into it and the AI turns and like kind of becomes bad and
Oh.
like is like too structured, too everything, like it's too smart, like the whole thing. But like the house makes you dinner, the house cleans the floors, it like does this, and there's this whole
Like
party
the
scene.
Jetsons of our parents.
Yeah, like there's a party scene, the kids throw a party and the house cleans itself. So like I need that,
I want
but
that. I'm
it
gonna make
needs
my
to not
kids
turn
watch it.
evil. I actually think the reason this was top of mind for me is on TikTok. There was a uh preview for like a horror movie that's coming out about how these houses can turn on you, and like the one was like trying to become the mom and like was making a form of themselves and like was gonna off the mom.
See those shows like that and Black
People's
Mirror,
minds already are
it
thinking that
really
way.
like freaks me out, like because it's so realistic that it really gets me going, and then I get a little bit of anxiety, like, oh
Yes,
my
like
gosh,
what's gonna turn on me quickest, but we
yes,
need
like the
something of
Tesla's
that.
gonna kill me.
Like AI is great, it helps with work, but yeah, like on the personal side, I need it to like pick up the pace and do something for me.
Yeah. So maybe if any of you are like scientists or like really smart, you could
Technical minds, please.
help us biologists. I think we need it all here. Like, let's just do
Yeah,
a clone that's not going to try and murder us and take our spot. Right. Like that's what we're looking for.
seriously.
And I think that would really solve a lot of our problems because we could give them the stuff we don't want
I
to
know.
do. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I think that's the plan we should go with. So we're calling all scientists,
Yeah,
and
that's where we leave off for
I think it's
today.
really off today. We took a total turn.
Yes, it took a
Yeah.
turn, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's time for us with that because we're starting to lose it to clock
I know.
back into the 9 to 5 and clock out of this
Sounds like
podcast.
a good time. See you guys next time.
Bye.